The Galactic Council had one rule that every species learned on their first day among the stars: stay away from Terran space. The warning beacons floated in the darkness, ancient and constant, marking the boundaries around a small yellow star called Sol. Their message was simple: do not enter. Do not engage. Let the Terrans be. For 300 years, most species obeyed. They heard the stories, saw the old recordings, and chose wisdom over curiosity. But the Valen Empire was different. Emperor Kral stood before the great window of his throne ship, staring at the holographic map that showed his domain. 400 star systems bowed to his will. Thousands of worlds paid tribute to his empire. His fleet was the largest in known space, his weapons the most feared. He was power itself, made flesh and bone. "Show me the Terran sector again," he commanded. The map shifted, highlighting the forbidden zone. 12 systems, rich with resources. Planets full of rare metals. Energy sources beyond measure. All of it untouched, protected only by ancient warnings and council fears. His chief advisor, General Rax, stepped forward. "My lord, the council records are clear. Every fleet that entered Terran space was destroyed. The last attempt was 200 years ago. 30 warships went in. None returned." Crow laughed, a sound like grinding stone. 200 years ago, Rax, we have advanced. Our shields can withstand any weapon. Our sensors can detect any trap." He turned from the window, his eyes cold. "The Council keeps other species away because they want those resources for themselves. They use fear as a tool, but the warnings are lies." Kral's voice cut through the air like a blade. "Look at the intelligence reports. The humans have barely reached their own moon. They have small stations, weak defenses. They are children playing with fire, and we are the storm." Rax had served the Empire for 40 years. He knew when to press and when to submit. "What are your orders, my lord?" "Prepare the Third Fleet. 50 warships, full battle configuration. You will lead them into Terran space. You will secure the resource worlds. And if the humans resist," Kral smiled, "show them what it means to face the Valen Empire." 3 weeks later, Rax stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the warning beacon grow larger on the screen. Behind him, 49 other warships moved in perfect formation. Each vessel carried enough firepower to level a city. Each shield could absorb massive damage. Each crew was trained in the art of conquest. The beacon passed by, its ancient message playing on all frequencies. "Turn back. This is your final warning." "Final warning," Rax muttered. "We are the final warning." He looked at his communications officer. "Take us in. Maximum speed." The fleet crossed the boundary. Space seemed normal at first. Stars burned in the distance. Planets orbited their sun. Sensors showed the expected readings. Earth appeared on the long-range scanners, blue and green and seemingly defenseless. "Sir, we're detecting orbital stations around the third planet," the sensor officer reported. "Basic construction. Energy signatures are weak. No significant military presence." Rax felt his confidence grow. The great Terran mystery was nothing but myth. Open a channel to Earth. Let's give them a chance to surrender. The message went out, broadcast on every frequency. "People of Earth, you are now subjects of the Valen Empire. Surrender your resources and your world will be spared. Resist, and you will be eliminated. You have 1 hour to respond." The wait was short. A human voice came back, calm and almost friendly. "Valen Fleet, this is Earth Defense Command. You were warned at the boundary. You ignored the Council's wisdom. Turn your ships around and leave our space. This is your last chance." Rax couldn't help but laugh. The bridge crew joined him. Last chance? From a species that could barely leave their own planet? Emperor Kral wants a demonstration, Rax said to his weapons officer. Target their moon base. Low power blast. Let's show them we're serious. The weapons officer pressed the controls. Energy built in the flagship's main cannon. The targeting computer locked on. The shot fired. A brilliant beam of destruction, racing toward Lunadot. It never arrived. The beam hit something invisible, something that absorbed the energy like water into sand. Alarm screamed across the bridge. Sensors went wild. What just happened? Rax demanded. Sir, there's something out there. Multiple contacts. They're everywhere. Space lit up with activation signals. What looked like empty void moments before now blazed with energy. Platforms uncloaked throughout the solar system, thousands of them, each one targeting a different Valan ship. The weak orbital stations around Earth opened like flowers, revealing weapon systems that made Valan technology look primitive. Mars, the red planet they'd dismissed as a simple colony, flickered and changed. The entire surface was artificial, a fortress disguised as a world. The asteroid belt, which should have been rocks and ice, powered up with reactor signatures that made the flagship's engines look like toys. Evasive action. Rax shouted, but it was too late. The first shot came from nowhere and everywhere at once. It passed through their shields like they didn't exist and carved through the hull of the warship Vengeance. The mighty vessel, which had destroyed planets, came apart in seconds. Return fire. All ships, return fire. The fleet opened up with everything they had. Missiles, energy beams, plasma torpedoes, all of it unleashed at once. Rax watched the sensors, waiting to see the human defenses crumble. Instead, he watched his fleet die. Human weapons moved faster than thought. They curved around obstacles, split into multiple warheads, and struck with impossible precision. Valan shields, which had never failed before, collapsed under the assault. Ships that had survived 100 battles vanished in balls of flame. Retreat. Full retreat. Rax screamed. The surviving ships turned to flee, but human vessels appeared behind them. Not ships that had traveled from somewhere else, ships that simply appeared, as if they'd been waiting invisible the entire time. They were sleek and small, maybe a tenth the size of a Valan warship, but they moved like living things. They danced between the fleeing vessels, their weapons surgical and precise. They didn't destroy, they disabled. Engine pods exploded. Weapon systems went dark. Life support stayed intact, but everything else died. Rax's hands shook as he counted his losses. 50 ships had entered Terran space. 10 were gone completely. 28 were drifting hulks. Only 12, including his flagship, still had power. The human voice came back on the channel, still calm, still almost friendly. Valan Commander, you're free to leave now. Go back to your Emperor. Tell him what you found here. Tell him that we wanted to be left alone. Tell him that your Empire's next choice will be its last. A corridor opened in the human formation, a clear path back to Valan space. Rax didn't hesitate. He took it as his damaged flagship limped toward the boundary. His communications officer looked up with terror in his eyes. Sir, we're getting readings behind us. The human ships. They're following us. Rax pulled up the sensor display and felt his blood turn cold. 3 human vessels stayed behind his fleet, matching their speed exactly, neither closing nor falling back, herding them, hunting them. He opened an emergency channel to Emperor Kral. The message would take hours to reach home, but it had to be sent. When the Emperor's face appeared on the screen, Rax didn't bow, didn't offer formal greeting. There was no time for that anymore. My lord, he said, his voice hollow. We were wrong. All of it was wrong. They were never primitive. They were never weak. It was all a trap. They let us see what they wanted us to see, and we walked right into it. He looked at the sensors again, at the 3 ships following in the darkness. Sir, they're coming, and I don't think we can stop them. Emperor Krau watched the message 3 times before he believed it. General Rex, his most trusted commander, looked like a broken man. The proud warrior who had conquered 17 worlds now spoke with the voice of someone who had seen the end of everything. Impossible, Krau whispered. But his hands gripped the arms of his throne until his knuckles turned white. His council gathered within the hour. Admirals, generals, scientists, all the minds that had built the Empire's power. They watched the recordings from the battle, studied the sensor data, and came to the same conclusion. We don't understand their technology, the head scientist said. Their weapons work on principles we've never seen. Their shields don't block, they redirect. Their ships don't travel, they fold space itself. Then we build more ships, Krau said. We match their numbers. My lord, Admiral Vorn spoke carefully. We sent 50 of our best warships. They destroyed or disabled 38 of them in less than 20 minutes. If we send our entire fleet, then send the entire fleet. Krau rose from his throne, his voice shaking the chamber. I will not bow to a species of primitives. We are the Valen Empire. We have 800 warships. Let them come. We will crush them with pure force. A quiet voice came from the back of the chamber. Ambassador Drell, the Valen representative to the Galactic Council, stepped forward. He was old, his scales gray with age, and he had seen things that the younger warriors had not. My lord, I beg you to reconsider. The Council has sent an emergency message. They are willing to mediate. The humans have made no demands yet. We can still mediate? Krau's laugh was bitter. Negotiate with those who attacked our fleet? We attacked first, my lord. We entered their space. We fired the first shot. Drell's voice was steady. The Council warned us. Every member species warned us. We chose arrogance over wisdom. Get out, Krau said quietly. My lord, get out. The Emperor's roar filled the chamber. All of you, leave me with my military commanders. We have a war to plan. Drell left with the others, but his words lingered in the air like smoke. 2 days later, the human ships reached the Valen border. General Rax's damaged fleet limped home, and behind them, visible to every sensor in the Empire, came 6 human vessels. Just 6. Small, sleek, and utterly terrifying. They stopped exactly at the boundary, as if an invisible wall held them there. For 12 hours, they simply waited, hanging in space like silent judges. Then they sent their message. It appeared on every screen in Valen Space Military, civilian government. Every ship, every station, every communication device showed the same thing. A human face. The man looked ordinary. No battle scars, no ceremonial armor, no signs of rank or power. He wore simple clothes and spoke in a gentle voice that somehow made his words more frightening. People of the Valen Empire, my name is David Cole, and I speak for Earth and her colonies. Your Emperor sent 50 warships into our space. He fired on our settlements. He demanded our surrender. We defended ourselves, and now we give you a choice. The image shifted, showing a map of Valen space. 50 systems glowed red. These worlds were conquered by your empire. Species that wanted only peace were enslaved. Their resources were stolen. Their cultures were destroyed. You have 48 hours to begin withdrawal from these systems. Every ship, every soldier, every administrator must leave. These worlds will be free again. Krau watched from his throne, his rage building with every word. If you comply, David continued, we will leave you in peace. Your empire will be reduced to your home systems, but you will survive. You will rebuild. You will learn. But if you refuse, the image changed again, showing the battle in Terran space. Valen warships exploding, shields failing, proud vessels reduced to floating metal. We will do what we must, not because we want war, but because we will protect the innocent. You have 48 hours. Choose wisely. The message ended. Silence filled the throne room. Prepare the fleet, Kral said. All 800 ships. We go to meet them. My lord, Admiral Vorn began. Now, Admiral, or I will find someone who will follow orders. 3 days later, the entire military might of the Valen Empire gathered at the border. 800 warships, the largest fleet ever assembled by their civilization. Fighters swarmed like insects. Battle stations took up positions. Every weapon was armed, every shield at maximum power. They faced 6 human ships. Crow stood on the bridge of his personal dreadnought, the pride of Valen, and opened a channel. Human commander, you see before you the full power of our empire. 800 warships against your 6. Withdraw now, or we will show you what true strength means. David Cole's face appeared on the screen again, and he was smiling. Not a cruel smile, but one of deep sadness. Emperor Crow, you still don't understand. We tried to warn you. The council tried to warn you. We didn't hide because we were weak. We hid because we were strong, and we didn't want to use that strength. Then you will die with your strength. Crow shouted. All ships attack. 800 warships surged forward as one. Space lit up with weapons fire, a storm of destruction that could shatter moons. The 6 human ships didn't move, didn't flee. They simply separated. And as they separated, they changed. Each ship split into 10, then 20, then more. What looked like 6 vessels was actually thousands, all hidden by technology that made them appear as one. The small fleet became a wall of ships that outnumbered the Valen force 3-1. No, Crow whispered. That's not possible. The human ships didn't fire back immediately. They moved through the Valen fleet like water through cracks, avoiding every shot with impossible grace. Valen targeting computers couldn't lock on. Sensors showed the human ships in one place, but they were always somewhere else. Then the humans fired. It wasn't a battle. It was a demonstration. Human weapons carved through Valen shields without slowing. But they didn't destroy, they disabled. Engine sections exploded harmlessly into space. Weapon systems melted. Power cores shut down. In 20 minutes, 500 Valen warships floated dead in space. Their crews alive, but helpless. The remaining 300 tried to retreat. Human ships appeared in front of them, behind them, beside them. There was no escape. Crow watched his empire's pride shatter like glass. Stop, he said quietly. Then louder, stop. Cease fire. I command you to cease fire. The Valen fleet went silent. The human ships stopped attacking, but they didn't leave. They surrounded the Valen vessels in a perfect sphere, weapons ready, waiting. David Cole's voice came through the speakers. Emperor Crow, do we have your attention now? Before Crow could answer, alarms screamed through the dreadnought. Ships were appearing in orbit above the Valen home world human ships. Dozens of them, just suddenly there with no warning, no sensor readings, no chance to respond. How? Crowl's voice cracked. How did you get past our defenses? We didn't, David said simply. Your defenses never saw us, because we never wanted them to. We've been watching your empire for 30 years, Crow. We know every ship, every station, every weapon. We could have ended this at any time. We chose mercy. On the planet below, Crowl's palace guards ran in panic as a single human shuttle landed in the throne room courtyard. No shots were fired. No weapons were drawn. The shuttle simply appeared, and from it stepped a woman in simple gray clothes. Ambassador Lisa Grant walked through the palace like she owned it. Guards raised their weapons, but their targeting systems showed nothing. Their guns wouldn't fire. She walked past them with a gentle smile, climbed the stairs to the throne room, and stood before Emperor Kral's empty throne. On his dreadnought, Kral watched through the security cameras as the human woman sat in his chair. "Come home, Emperor," David said. "We need to talk." The journey back to the home world took 6 hours. Kral rode in silence, watching his fleet, or what remained of it, limp home under human escort. No one spoke. There were no words left. When he entered his throne room, the human woman stood and stepped aside, offering his own throne back to him. The gesture somehow made everything worse. Kral sat, feeling older than his years. "Say what you came to say?" Lisa Grant didn't gloat. She didn't lecture. She simply pulled up a holographic display and showed him the truth. 300 years ago, humanity nearly destroyed itself, she said. Nuclear war, biological weapons, environmental collapse. We came within hours of extinction. Less than 1 billion of us survived. Our world was a graveyard. The images showed Earth burning, cities in ruins, oceans poisoned. We rebuilt slowly. We learned from our mistakes. We developed technology not to conquer, but to defend. We spread through our solar system and found ways to hide, to watch, to prepare. We saw what other species did to each other out here among the stars. And we made a choice. The display changed, showing human ships, human stations, human technology. We would stay hidden until we were strong enough that no one could threaten us again. We would watch the galaxy and hope that we'd never need to reveal ourselves. We wanted peace, Emperor. We still do. But we prepared for war because we knew species like yours existed. Kral stared at the images. "Why didn't you just destroy us?" "You could have." "Because destruction is easy," Lisa said. "Building something better is hard. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We don't want an empire. We want to be left alone, and we want other species to be free." She waved her hand, and new images appeared. The 50 conquered worlds, the enslaved species, the resources stolen. "This is your choice, Kral. You withdraw from every conquered system. You release every enslaved species. You reduce your empire to your home worlds. You live in peace under council oversight. Or..." She didn't need to finish. Kral looked at his generals, his advisors, all the proud warriors who had built an empire on strength and fear. They looked back at him with defeat in their eyes. "How long do we have?" "We return to Terran space in 48 hours. By the time we reach our border, every conquered world should have seen your ships leaving. Human observers will remain to ensure compliance. Break these terms, and we won't offer mercy again. And if we comply, then you rebuild. You learn. You become better. Many species have made this journey, Emperor. Some were worse than you. They changed. They grew. You can too." Lisa stood and walked toward the door, then paused. "One more thing. The warning beacons around our space are being updated. The new message will say, 'Humanity gave you a second chance. Don't ask for a third. Make sure your children remember that.'" She left. The human ships left. Within hours, they were all gone, vanished back to Terran space as if they had never been there at all. Kral sat alone in his throne room for a long time. Then he called his admirals and gave the order that ended his empire. "Begin the withdrawal. All conquered worlds will be freed. Send ambassadors to the council. We will accept their terms." Years passed. The Valan Empire became the Valan Republic, limited to 3 systems, but free from the cost of conquest. The freed worlds rebuilt. The galaxy breathed easier. In schools across former Valen space, children learned a new lesson. Teachers showed them images of the great fleet, the proud empire, the certain victory that became absolute defeat. This is what happens when pride blinds wisdom, the teachers said. This is what happens when we ignore warnings. The humans wanted only peace. We gave them war. They showed us mercy we didn't deserve. Remember this. Never forget. The warning beacons around Terran space glowed with their new message. And every species in the galaxy made sure their children knew what those words meant. Earth remained quiet, watching, waiting, hoping that the lesson would last. But preparing. Always preparing in case it didn't. The end asterisk